Okay, hello everybody and welcome to AAOL. I have lost track of what stage and what week we're in. We're up to.
Is it week 4?
It's
I feel like it's round 4,
one hell of a
stage
long
2.
season, that's for sure. And we're in for a treat tonight because we've got two of the top-ranked teams in Division 1. It's FoulPlay Basilisk against INTerstella, and our first map here is Nepal. I'm Swift. I'm joined alongside here by Queso.
Hello. How are you, Swift?
I am. I'm all right. You?
I am very excited by this game. It looks like it's going to be a ripper of a game.
And what makes you say that?
Well, starting straight off, it looks like INTerstella's going with Attack Torb and Symmetra, which is always exciting. So,
but you should never get too prematurely excited about these things.
No, I really shouldn't. You're right.
But if they were the picks that they went with, I would be excited. But no, it's going to be a relatively well.
Oh, damn it! Just the early, late.
Anyway, that late switch to Lucio is going to mean that FoulPlay are going to be the first ones here onto the point. Mun gets the early pick off onto Flibby, and well, the fight ends pretty quickly if your first two deaths are both of your supports, and that's a pretty clean fight win there for INTerstella.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, barely even took any damage. You're right, the early picks, as long as they're supports, will enable the fight to snowball in your favor.
That's exactly what happened. Alright, and because those first two picks were support picks, it's going to mean that INTerstella do have a support ultimate advantage lead here at the moment. And this looks like a very well coordinated dive here. The Diva and the Winston diving together with the Lucio and the Genji, and whoever they dive onto, that's an instant kill.
Yeah, absolutely. They look so organized, they look so coordinated. Love to be listening to their comps because they're very clean, I would suspect.
Oh, they are a mess, but a mess that works, because I guess one of the hardest things about team play in Overwatch is focusing targets, and these guys have no problem. And then is that the first kill for the side of FoulPlay Basilisk?
Yeah, that's the first, and it's gonna get missed straight up.
Cassowary getting one elimination there. So time's running out here for Basilisk, but they have some ultimates. INTerstella have the ultimates to match.
Absolutely. But INTerstella, really good with the ultimate usage. Just one ultimate in that fight.
Well, because they're so well coordinated, they're not even needing to use ultimates. Rocket Barrage comes out from Mun. Astro already both support kills there again at the start, so I mean, INTerstella are doing all the right things, and there's not really much time here for Basilisk to start getting percentage this round as we head into overtime.
There's just not much that they can do trying to get bodies under the point without the Basilisk is going to be taken down. Deep Rocket's no one, but Libby will be taken down eventually.
And Royal Eskimo is just prolonging this fight. There's not anything they're going to be able to do. So not only are INTerstella looking really super organized, clean, coordinated, everything this round, FoulPlay Basilisk are also looking very unorganized. They don't even have a chance to start their engage or start their dive because they're still grouping up when INTerstella dives on them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an argument to be made that they might need to start grouping up a little bit further back, a little bit away from the potential reach of
Or the
No,
other
not necessarily overextending, but just extending enough to be effective and continually get those initial picks to win fights before they've even started.
Yes, and I was just about to say the other option they have is to change their team comp, which is exactly what they're doing right now. This is a very anti-dive composition at the moment with the Reaper, Zarya, Reinhardt, Roadhog.
A little bit disappointed that Brigitte stopped being employed, but we shall see with the Moira, that extra healing.
GRTK is on the Doomfist though, so that's a rare treat in this competition.
I feel like when you're this coordinated, you can take that sort of risk.
Absolutely, and that's Mun getting 2 kills to start the fight off with. A Res does come through on the side of INTerstella, and looks like they are going to win this team fight. Little bit better there from FoulPlay Basilisk. They did get a couple of kills, which they haven't been getting in earlier fights, I think.
I'm taking care of you.
Yeah, they've got they don't have a mech. Nush is out of mech, so that could put them at a disadvantage coming into this next fight. But
Only
they
if,
coordinate a dive.
yep. Only if Basilisk get in there, and I'm just gonna walk right in onto the point, but they do need to do something about that Pharah, because if they're standing there getting onto the point, the Pharah's getting free damage in, but Leftovers does get the opening pick here for Basilisk. Instant trade. GRTK on the Doomfist does take out the Zarya, but Noosh is out of mech again, and well, I'm not sure what just happened there. I guess Reaper's shotgun's doing in a lot of damage, and that Moira Orb just helped to finish off a few of the kills, and it's Basilisk in control of a point building percentage for the first time in this first map.
Yeah, that was a really sort of high damage environment there from Basilisk to play close quarters and you know really push in as quickly as possible. Meant that there was just absolutely nothing that INTerstella could do with the healers that they have. Moira's very good at that. Sorry, Moira, that's all good.
I was gonna say they do need to be careful because they do have that rocket barrage, and it does catch Cassowary, and the self-destruct does come out there from Noosh. GRTK has switched onto the Tracer, and he's nearly almost got a pulse bomb. No clear winner here in this team fight, but there is a trade. Both divas are out of mech, and I think this fight's leaning in the favour of INTerstella at the moment. Leftovers does get that important kill onto the Mercy, so they just need to follow up now, clean up a little bit, and Cassowary is making a big difference there on the Reinhardt. Swinging his hammer around, getting some kill, and that's going to be a double pulse bomb purely because they were both standing next to each other, both low on HP. Moira didn't really have much healing left, and I mean they're in control, they're still building control, but I feel like INTerstella is going to get control of this point very shortly unless Basilisk can pull out a miracle.
It's honestly looking quite incredible on the side of on the side of INTerstella.
And geez, that's another pulse bomb from GRTK.
Yeah, they kept the fight going. I was beginning to wonder, should they perhaps just pull a regroup? And as we're seeing, they're managing to extend a fight, gets a bit scrappy, and then win in the end. You know,
so they did make that very. I don't know if there was much that they could do in that situation. Their tanks were standing very close together on the point. They were both low on health, and that pulse bomb takes both of them out. GRTK is charging this pulse bomb very quickly. He literally just used it, just got a kill. And he's nearly got that up once again. Dragon Blade comes out from Mun, as does the sound barrier for INTerstella, and they get the opening pick in this fight onto Royal Eskimo. And that's a very good trade. Both sides relatively even now. But INTerstella does have the advantage at this point, and I think they're going to hold on to the point. So, I guess there is one last chance here for Basilisk to come back, and they will need to get on and start finishing off their progress if they want to win this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Basilisk is going to need to push in relatively quickly, and it's not going to help if they lose Moira before the fight's even started.
GRTK is just being so good on this Tracer. Alright, we're in overtime here. Let's see what Basilisk can do to take control of this point. Not looking good because most of their team's critical and they've got no healer at the moment, but Royal Eskimo's trying to focus down this Mercy instead of healing his team, which might
Finally pays off in the end. Well, that's because I'll get the kill onto the Valkyrie.
pay off. The rest of his team is able to stay alive, and well, Basilisk needs to finish off a couple of kills here, but they're looking pretty good, and that pulse bomb does not get a DMAC, and Royal Eskimo presses Q when that Moira Coalescence comes out, so 10 more seconds here. I think INTerstella are going to group up and get back onto the point, but you know, let's see what happens here. Alright, INTerstella dive together on the point, and that's a Dragon Blade coming out from Mummy. Mummy doesn't get anything out of it, and Royal Eskimo shuts him down very quickly. And the Death Blossom also comes out. Arch on Reaper getting 2 kills. Leftovers getting a kill on Roadhog, and it's just clean up now. That was an incredible comeback from Basilisk there. They had their ultimates coming up at exactly the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. That was an incredibly close fight there. I think what swung it in the favor of FoulPlay Basilisk was that high damage and a decent supply of healing earlier on, whereas we saw Enigma switch to the Moira later on. There wasn't that healing to match the high damage output of things like Reaper and Roadhog. So perhaps
they are changing their team comp up here once more, and that's one thing I do like about this Basilisk side, is that they are adapting their team comp. After that disastrous start on the first round, they changed it up, made a massive difference on round 2. They're changing it up again here on the 3rd stage, and I'm liking this Orisa Hog. So they're sort of trapped here on the side.
Yeah, Cassowary in a really hard spot, just stuck in the corner of that little underpass. Arch absolutely melting the tanks. Enigma manages to get Resurrect up. Coalescence comes out from Royal Eskimo, trying to keep him up, but he falls off the map! Perhaps moved. Barra Barrage. GRTK catches leftovers and decisive in the favour of INTerstella.
Thanks for talking us through that one. I am very good at unplugging my microphone, it seems.
But you covered.
Thank you. So yeah, good start there from INTerstella.
Wonderful, honestly. It's so refreshing to watch, like incredibly coordinated team play.
So I see there are some switches on the side of Basilisk, because Cassowary switched off the Orisa onto that Reinhardt, and everyone saw that Riptide coming, but they couldn't do anything in time, and before anything even happens, it's
I mean, yeah, when you're in
start
that
with a team kill.
when you're in that small little sanctum room there, there's just nowhere to go, and Riptide, it's
That was
a
that was a perfect Riptide. I'm not sure if that's what Mun had thought of or intended, but that was a great opportunity there to get those kills. Basilisk filing in through the left side now.
Yeah, it's incredible. Basilisk is still only with 2 ultimates, whereas INTerstella 4 available.
Royal getting very low there on the Moira and wasn't able to keep healed, so he's down, but Single Pixel does catch Mun in that self-destruct as they battle that out on the point. GRTK catches Leftover in that rocket barrage, and another ultimate out on the side of INTerstella, that Primal Rage, and they used a lot of ults. That I think they probably used a few more ults than they needed to.
Yeah, Arch continually getting not much with his
okay, that was an interesting self-destruct. Well, guess it didn't really matter in the end. They couldn't get back to the point, so
I'm at a loss for words. They were they denied like in terms of
that
boots or
stage,
something,
it just went so,
or-
it just went so quickly. That stage, there was similar to the first stage where
that
Basilisk,
reptile.
they just weren't able to find their feet, and it was partly because of these riptides, or
There was always something that Interstellar was doing that caught Basilisk off guard, that caught them, you know, not exactly coordinated enough to deal with, or you know, there's something happened that initiated a sort of snowball effect, and Interstellar able to, you know, clean up and maintain fairly substantial match control.
very well done there by Interstellar. They're looking very, very organized, very coordinated. I mean, we've seen flashes of Basilisk playing really well, but they need to be playing consistently well because that's what Interstellar's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're moving on to Junkertown now, which is always an interesting map. Think teams are either really good at Junkertown, or fail abysmally at it, because it is such a unique map in its layout and its design, featuring both those sort of large open spaces with which, you know, there's a variety of mobility options and areas to stand, and the tight sort of confined areas that make certain compositions no longer viable. It's almost essentially like you have to run, you know, 3 distinct compositions, almost for the 3 zones.
So we do have a maybe an accidental pause. Okay, so who do you have your eye on this map based on what you've seen so far?
Oh, it'll be 100. It'll 100% have to be GRTK.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
The tracer plays have been so on point. The pulse bombs, the incredibly fast rate of getting those up. It's been an absolute joy to watch.
I think more than that too, it's his willingness to play more than one DPS hero, because he's been on the Pharah, he's also been on the Doomfist. That Pharah last round was very, very, very good as well. So
yeah, absolutely. The ability to flex and to play incredibly well on more than just one hero is an absolutely valuable asset, and I hope we get to see the Doomfist again for first point defense.
I got a little bit.
First point attack.
I got a little bit excited because just before he locked in that May pick, and
oh well, I mean we're
and here he is on McCree now. So we'll see. Mun's on the Widowmaker, Stolen Picnics on the Zarya at the moment. I'm not sure whether they're going to run this double sniper or whether they're just going to use that sonic arrow.
Double sniper in sacrificing a support. Oh no.
I'll say that would have been an unusual composition. Fairly standard defensive comp on the side of Basilisk.
Alright, now I have no idea what's happening. If they run double setup on cart, this will be very, very interesting.
That would have been exciting, but we are seeing Bastion and Arista setting up on the cart. GRTK going to be a bit of a flanky McCree. Does get hit a little bit by that Widowmaker, but nothing too serious.
Ooh, and Hanzo controlling the flank as well. That's quite nice to see.
It's true. So we're seeing it. We're seeing it. Okay, well, they're 2 very fast kills there for INTerstella. I was going to say we've got triple DPS set up here at the moment, if you're counting Bastion as a DPS, and only tank for INTerstella is that Arista, but they haven't even had to do anything so far, and they take this first point in less than a minute.
Yeah, that was what, a 49-second cap first point Junkertown. So I mean, quite impressive. The scatter arrow very early on was pretty much what set them up for.
So I don't like to be too critical, but I think that was more of a mistake of FoulPlay in that they didn't have a solid defense set up. In that INTerstella are just able to push this cart and the further they push it, the further back this defense goes. So INTerstella are getting relatively easy kills while they're pushing the card as well, and that's why INTerstella were able to capture that first point with only a couple of kills and one team fight. As GRTK brings out the High Noon just to kill that Roadhog.
And again, like I feel like this is such a strange fight because while Eskimo brought out the yeah, exactly. Eskimo brings out that Transcendence. It's really not gonna help. It's gonna delay for what, maybe 10 seconds.
No, and that was really strange too, because when he came onto the cart, they were at a numbers disadvantage already. I meant that was the last ditch attempt to hold that point, but they were never going to hold that point. And I feel at the moment we still have not actually seen a team fight. It's all been one way. Basilisk defense is looking really weak, and well, they're going to hope to get something with this Riptire, and they do get the Bastion, but I think the res might be on cooldown, so they're able to get another kill, and the res is not on cooldown. Bastion gets res back up right in front of them. Orisa's getting quite low on the side of INTerstella, and I think perhaps Basilisk might be a little bit lucky here. So drive them back a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like INTerstella's gonna... I was gonna say they're gonna reset, but I don't think that's the INTerstellar way. Let's drag out these team fights for as long as possible, and honestly, it seems like it pays off. It really does.
I think they're feeling a lot more confident. I think they're feeling that they're a lot more... I think they know that they're a lot more organised. They're on the ball a lot more. In these 1v1 sort of situations, they're always coming out on top. So I think they understand that they're able to continue these engagements, even if they're at a bit of a disadvantage numbers-wise or ultimate-wise, and it is paying off for them. That was a very prolonged Riptire, and it does get shut down, but Royal is able to get a kill onto the Orisa.
I was going to be astonished if that Resurrect got off. But it did! It did!
So...
That's okay. I'm not sure, sorry.
So, I guess there is a point to be made there in that Basilisk aren't punishing some of these reses.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're also letting the Tracer cause havoc as well in the backline. So, I give credit to Royal Eskimo though, he did get a couple of picks from the backline, I'm guessing with his right click, so at the moment a fair number of kills for the side of Basilisk are coming from their off support.
Kane, Nush is just able to work absolute wonders in the back line, just taking down support before fights have started.
There's a lot of ultimates coming out here on both sides, but as we've seen so far, no matter what ultimates are being used or what the numbers are on both sides, it's that generally INTerstella are having advantage in these team fights, simply because they're better organised and they're playing a lot better. So Basilisk are jumping on the cart here, contesting. However, that is a great Graviton surge on the point.
Yeah, especially as you get close to the end, needing to contest, everyone's on the cart and you catch everyone or near everyone in it, and...
The leftovers is bringing out a last ditch Riptire, but there's no one there to contest the point.
That was an absolutely one-sided affair. There were some stabilizations that Basilisk was able to make to stall the card a little bit on that final point, but the steamroll, 49 seconds through point A, and not much longer for point B, was really telling on how coordinated this side is. Honestly, I'd love to sit in and hear those comms, because I mean,
absolutely,
it would have to be like absolutely wonderfully coordinated. I mean, or they just synergize incredibly well together. If they've played together perhaps before, or everyone sort of just works well. They sort of know what's expected of each other and are able to, coordinate like sufficiently, then they're going to continue to win team fights, or prolong ones that have lost, and then swing them around in your favor once
Yep.
the respawns come in.
Absolutely. So, Basilisk's I don't know that I'd say stabilized, but their defense looked a lot better on around that last point. They did win a few team fights.
Yes, yeah.
Even if it was just momentarily, because I mean, I guess technically they may have won the team fight.
Attackers incoming
but
in 30 seconds.
It
But
didn't take long for the rest of INTerstella to mobilize and come back and continue. Like,
Yeah. Again, sometimes at what cost were they winning these team fights? Perhaps incredibly.
yeah, they honestly didn't get a moment to take a breath and stabilize and discuss how they were going to hold wherever they were set up, because
5,
they weren't holding anywhere.
3, 2, 1.
I think so far INTerstella doing really well at putting pressure on, so we're seeing an interesting
my
defense
God.
composition. And this is what you like to see on Junkertown.
This close defense. Personal anecdote time, but our team did play INTerstella recently in a scrim, and this is the exact thing that they pulled on us, and they were able to stall us there for a solid 1.5 to 2 minutes. So it does work, and we're seeing again here the setup is so
And
dominant.
that focus fire on Cassowary there. And it gets resurrected, but so even if they weren't able to win a team fight holding here, they're still getting in the heads of Basilisk. Every second that they aren't able to get out of that spawn, they're going to be so frustrated.
We're just sort of trying to
Makes the
see
switch to the
what
tracer there.
what switches are coming through, like the tracer. Now onto a
Jump
Reaper.
back.
Cassowary does manage to get the Bastion, but May's gonna drop an area of effect and shut down. Single pixel. Mun's resurrected and kills leftovers. Meanwhile, the payload has not moved.
No, it
One Mesa.
hasn't moved at all. Which you don't see often 2 minutes into an attack, and Cassowary just gets taken down so quickly, and then Man on the Bastion gets into configuration tank and gets 3 easy kills as Royal Eskimo struggling to just take his own life off the edge of the map there. Quite fitting, considering. So Basilisk may be thinking that they should perhaps try switching up the composition, but they're not. They are able to get out of spawn now, as they all go around the right side. So they're positioning themselves quite well now, but it'll be useless if they're not able to get opening pick. that Maywall comes out and alright, so they've sort of set themselves up in oh my goodness. I don't know that I need to analyze that actually. That's just leave
Sorry,
it.
I'm at a loss for words.
So yeah, so Queso, I'm gonna ask if you're in this situation as you were recently, would you try going maybe 6 DPS just to get out the door and get some kills, or?
Gosh, okay, honestly, I think that the Junkrat switch is a solid switch. You need to charge up that tire as we're seeing now, and this could be big, yeah.
There we go, that's the opening picks that they need, but the Junkrats are being harassed at the spawn door. One of those reses does come through, but it does get punished as Royal Eskimo is able to find a couple of kills there.
Wow. Configuration tank managed to get no one shut down, and
So
was able to push.
So they only got that because of that opening rip tire
Yeah.
pick. So I would say INTerstella are feeling very confident now. They're switching up to a more normal composition because they can easily hold it here, and I think they will. The Death Blossom is online for leftovers. They do have that supercharger. They get an opening pick, but it does get rezzed.
They're gonna need to contest cut pretty soon though, as it's getting close to the point. Oh, one gets slept.
Another Riptide comes out from Arch, but Astro is able to shut him and the Riptide down. That Death Blossom doesn't do as much as they need it to do, and well, that was pretty easy for INTerstella.
That was truly astonishing. There was moments there where Basilisk were trying to get out of that spawn, and it looked like they'd switched sides. It looked like, you know, Basilisk was the defending team coming in to attack their own spawn. That was an incredibly close defense to that spawn, and it really paid off in the end.
So just consider for a moment, if that Riptide got shut down before it got 2 kills,
Yeah.
it's quite possible that Basilisk would not have even been able to make any payload progress.
Oh, absolutely. With the resurrects that can come out every 30 seconds onto whomever was playing Mun, I believe, initially, the Bastion. If you've got a res every 30 seconds, you get a kill, and then your team wipes. A reset takes around what, 10 seconds for respawn. So if you get 3 team deaths within, you know, every 10 seconds, that's at least 30 seconds that you need to be waiting for your team to respawn. And Messi's got a resurrect backup, so it doesn't matter. You take down that Bastion, and then, you know, another 30 seconds goes by after a decisive team fight. Doesn't matter, the resurrect will come out, 30 seconds will go by, and, you know, the cycle can continue over and over again, and then it looks a little bit hairy. Well, you can pull out the configuration tank mode and just clean everything up. So what is an attacking side to do? There's not...
Well, I feel like they could have done any comp. Like, if I was calling for Basilisk in that game, I would have said, let's run 5 DPS. All we need to do is get an opening couple of picks. And they would have been able to start moving that cart sooner, but for some reason they stuck onto a more conventional comp, even though that was not a conventional situation that they found themselves in.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. It was that complete denial of space. Like, you know, there's that, you know, idiom of just press W, you know, move forward, deny space, keep yourself in that advantage, and you can't press W any more than setting up right at the, you know, attacker's spawn door. So you're right, you need to think outside the box like that defense has clearly done, and think, well, okay, if we're going to take incredibly high amounts of damage, and we don't have our mobility, you know, like the chance to use our mobility, you know, utilities, you know, jumps or boosters or whatever to get in there and deny their space, then we need to think of ways to get around that. And you're right, it's with additional damage. Perhaps it's with additional support, perhaps it's with a Mei wall, block that damage off, walk onto cart, push, force them to move.
Or even just trying to charge that Riptire from the start, damage boosting the Junkrat. As soon as they got that Riptire, they could have done something, but it took a long time to charge that Riptire. Anyway, we're here on our assault map now.
Yeah, I guess.
And we're seeing a very unique composition here from INTerstella. Fairly even at this point. I think Flibby just got taken out trying to do a resurrect, and this appears to be one of the fastest Hanamura .8 captures I have ever seen.
Yeah, well, that looks like we're coming up to the 49-second mark. It's a recurring theme of these attacks.
So, I really like that attack. I am a big fan of running Bastion, playing around the Bastion. Set the Bastion up in the corner of the point, put that shield in front of him, pocket him.
Yeah. If you get a Tracer player with that level of tracking to play Bastion, deal exceptionally high amounts of damage, there's no defense against.
And again, we're seeing GRTK playing a range of DPS heroes really, really well. So, INTerstella is just marching onto this second point, and there's not really much Basilisk are able to do at this point, and that's one of the fastest point B captures I have seen.
Yeah, that looks like, from memory, it seemed to be around a 53-second point A cap and around a 40-second point B cap. So that's an incredibly decisive play there. That Bastion, again, using a Bastion to deny space, pushing forward, pushing into your personal area, you know, as a defending team, and just setting up and controlling all of that area.
And it's smart too. There's honestly nothing Basilisk can do from a defensive standpoint until they take that Bastion out. But their Bastion's set up on their territory, shielded, supported by the healers.
Yeah,
and it's just so difficult to kill the Bastion, but there's nothing that they can do once the Bastion is set up on the point.
Yeah, I think it's getting close to time to consider radical options to deal with.
It's honestly not often on this map, or many support maps, assault maps for that matter. 6 minute and 27-second time bank. It's not looking good for FoulPlay at this point.
Yeah, and the series has already gone up to 2-0 in the favor of INTerstella, so they're essentially playing, you know, for pride at this point to at least get a map off INTerstella. But when you're this coordinated, when you're working as a team to this level, I don't think there's very many things that you can do.
So it's INTerstella on defense here. They've got an interesting defense setup. We've got the soldier not in the usual setup position. The soldier's on this side with the Ana, while the rest of the heroes are on the other side where the soldier's normally set up. So this is interesting. And it seems like Basilisk are wanting to mirror this Bastion concept. But
doesn't look like it's going to pay off as
Noble
able to take down Bastion and a support.
Well, the thing that INTerstella did there that Basilisk did not do on defense was they actually were set up in a way that they could kill the heroes as they were coming onto the point. So they're on either side. The Bastion has to run from the gate to the point. Someone would have said, they're running Bastion, let's focus the Bastion, and that's exactly what happened. So the Bastion wasn't able to get to the point.
Exactly, because we saw the Basilisk defense was on the point, so they essentially let the Bastion waltz right on in.
Exactly. So really well played from INTerstella. We are seeing a few trades here, but even an early advantage there to Basilisk is turned around pretty quickly by INTerstella, and they're able to finish things. So even if there is a moment of Basilisk looking good, they get 2 kills in a row, somehow INTerstella are able to just turn that back around and say, no.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an interesting team dynamic that's going on here for INTerstella. So organized.
But Cassowary is able to get that early pick onto GRTK, and that's really important. He then gets a pick onto the other DPS, so This is looking like an alright attack until Leftovers and Flibby lose their life and Mun gets rezzed, so... Cassowary putting in a lot of effort there, but the rest of his team wasn't really there to back him up or help get additional kills. So there's only a minute 30 left on the clock now, and another good kill there from Cassowary. So Cassowary is on fire at the moment. Let's see what the rest of his team can do. Leftovers does get that pick onto GRTK. Flibby gets a pick onto Enigma. This is looking good at the moment for Basilisk, but in their usual fashion, INTerstella are turning this around a little bit. Mun getting a kill onto Royal, and the res does come through for the Ana, so they do lose their Mercy and their Ana now, so it looks like Basilisk have been able to take this point barring a miracle.
Yeah, as it's turning into a more sort of standard dive composition, it looks like Basilisk are in a sort of more comfortable position. They're able to work in a way that I think that they know they can, and that is a coordinated sort of dive, and that works in their favour. As we see that they're able to cap, point A with around 30 seconds left. So
Objective lost.
That was interesting there, seeing what INTerstella did. They had a go at trying to hold it, winning the game then and there, trying to get that res off, and it was so close to happening, but luckily Basilisk were switched on and they did catch it. Otherwise, I think there was a very fair chance of INTerstella denying that point. So Basilisk having a go and attack here, coming in with a sound barrier, but they lose their other support hero on the way, and Mun does come out with that Dragon Blade and it finds the other support, and they lose their Genji, so whatever momentum they had from capturing the first point, they've lost. Really good focusing on the side of INTerstella. They know who they need to kill, and they're getting it done.
what a late stack onto Cassowary. Oh, and that pulls onto Eskimo! It's gotta be hurting at this point. It's gotta be hurting.
And often the first deaths for Basilisk are their support heroes.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Like, you say that, and it's even when Cassowary is able to get initial picks onto the INTerstella support, so...
Well, it doesn't matter if Cassowary is playing well, getting 1 or 2 elims in a fight. It doesn't matter if the rest of the team's not able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, exactly.
If Cassowary gets a kill on a DPS, for example, it doesn't matter if they lose 2 of their supports after it. It does look like Basilisk are in the lead in this fight, at least now, as they are able to get 3 picks. Some trades are coming in here for the side of INTerstella, but Archer's able to finish out Enigma on the Ana, and Royal does get a pick onto the Tracer. It's looking alright at the moment for Basilisk, but there are trades coming in from INTerstella, and that's something that's so good at, is turning a fight back in their favour, and I feel like that's exactly what's happening now, as they're coming back out of spawn and onto the point. Basilisk had a huge numbers advantage there at one point. There's about a 5 versus 3 situation, but they weren't able to finish off the people who were left, and so 10-12 seconds later, that window that they had to get some more kills, they blew it, and INTerstella just walk out the spawn doors and turn the situation around in their favour without really any ultimates, mind you. The only ultimate that they used to win that fight back was that Primal Rage.
And also the spawn advantage of being so close to that point B definitely would help the defense as well.
But it doesn't have to be a factor when you're finishing off the remaining kills. Dragon Blade does come out here from Mun, and despite being very low health, he does get the kill onto Royal on the Zenyatta. Trade does come in as Genji does get taken down. Things are relatively even at this point as Cassowary uses Primal Rage to kill Ana. Sound barrier does come out on the side of Basilisk as their D.Va manages to find Astro there on the Winston. Looking fairly even, but again, Basilisk are just having trouble finishing kills. Some sparring going on the high ground there, but Cassowary loses his life, and they're not even able to secure a tick.
They get painfully close. Looks to be around, 27%. So.
Oh, and that's not going to help. So on paper, when they're in a situation where perhaps it's a 5v3, for instance, on paper they should be able to focus these remaining 3 targets and come out on top. But that's not what's happening. So perhaps they're having trouble coordinating on who they're going to target.
It could be a team play issue. Could be that there's no coordination in terms of finalizing kills. But
All right, this is their last chance to take this second point, and the best outcome for them at the moment is a draw. But first 3 kills are onto Basilisk. Even if Cassowary does find a trade, there's not really much that Basilisk can do at this point as the self-destruct comes out from Noosh. That attack's over pretty quickly, so I guess Basilisk gonna have a lot to think about coming out this week as they lose 3-0 in this series.
yeah, that was an incredibly dominant display on the side of INTerstella. They were able to continually surprise Basilisk and incredible control of space, and there was just a very limited opportunity for Basilisk to, display the coordinated dives that they have that they've essentially been able to do before, and that we've seen and know that they can do. And it seems as though INTerstella know this. It's as though they know what Basilisk are likely to do, and have designed compositions and strategies that directly counter the potential attacks from Basilisk.
So Basilisk potentially underprepared. They were far less prepared than INTerstella. I felt INTerstella had a really good understanding of the Basilisk team. Basilisk just seemed unaware to the sort of strategies or compositions that they run. They weren't reacting to those compositions either. I think Basilisk have a lot to work on over the next week. Organization, coordination, but INTerstella I'm really impressed with. So thank you everyone for joining us on this first match tonight with AAOL. Our second match is coming up at 8:30, and I'm just going to check who's playing. So Empire Esports, sorry, Imperium, Equestrius, I'm against Knock Inferno, which starts, it's Division 2 game, it starts at 8:30, so AAOL will be back in half an hour, and I'd like to thank everyone for watching this first game this evening.
Yeah, thank you everyone.